Good morning. It's Monday motivation here on the Step by Step listening page and the YouTube channel. Today we're talking about stop thinking, start doing. And the reason I talk about that is because I've been hearing about people who say you need to stop and think and stop and reflect, and you need to go on and do things. Now, I have to say I was probably the reverse. I was the sort of person just kept doing without stopping to think about things. And so I talk about in the 7 principles of motivated action. Principle number 7 is push. Just do it. Just get on with it. Do it. Because sometimes you cannot know whether the decision is going to work or not work until you've actually done it, got some kind of feedback and got some kind of response, evaluated, and then move through it. Now, I was talking or listening to Brad Burton, I should say, the other day. He said, there's no such thing as a bad decision. You're going to either make a decision and be successful, or you're going to learn from it. And when we learn from our mistakes and when we learn from our decisions, that's how we become an expert in something. And so that there is no way to lose if you're able to see it and perceive it as either going to be successful or you're going to learn something from it. Which brings us back to the very first model that we work on in the Do, Delegate or Ditch Foundation course, where we think about when you're learning at your best, that's like what? Now, what I'm finding now, the more we unpack this with people, particularly people who are sensitive to criticism, and particularly with the overwhelm of choice that you can Google anything you like on social media, on Facebook, you can see it. So basically, in essence, when we're learning, most of us, not everybody, but a typical pattern would be that we'll listen or hear or see something outside and we'll compare it and contrast it with our own experience so far. And then we'll create a plan if we're particularly wanting to learn it. But if something doesn't make sense at all, or it feels completely opposite to us, what we can do is fall in the pattern of doing compare, contrast, criticize. Now, you might criticize the other person, saying they're wrong, that's not right, or you might criticize yourself, saying that you are not good enough or that's not right. But at the basic level, what we've done is we've lost that ability to be curious, to just be fascinated that somebody else is doing it that way and it's causing some kind of emotional reaction in ourselves. And the quickest and easiest way out of that is to think about what would you like to have happen. If you can change that from compare, contrast, create a plan, then you make a decision to do something. And I do believe that there's 7 principles to the motivated action, and one of them is purpose and process and making sure you've got progress. And if you are going to take a leap of faith, you're going to do something that without really overthinking it or spending too much time thinking about it, I do highly recommend you have a support network around you, that you have at least people that you know that be your cheerleaders, because it's a bit like jumping out of a plane for fun, for charity, or walking over hot coals. If you see any of those events going, even like Formula One drivers, anyone who is taking a risk, anyone who is pushing themselves to the limit, they don't do it on their own. Now, for you, your limit might be speaking up in a group. Your limit might be actually putting your opinion out on Facebook and being okay with some people not liking what you say. It can be all sorts of stuff, but I'm seeing it more and more right now that people are scrolling through social media, Googling how to do things, listening to loads of other experts, but not getting to that point where they actually make a decision and take action. So going back to today's subject then is stop thinking, start doing. I want to ask you now to consider what needs to happen for you to do something, take some kind of action, because you can waste hours and hours and hours reading and listening and trying to get more data through other things, or just distracting yourself from having to make the decision, when the only evidence you're ever going to get whether that decision is right or not is to act on it and get the feedback. Hope you found today's video useful. Please put your comments below. I can see 2 have joined me live. Have a think about it today. I know for me personally, I was always a bit of a doer. I didn't stop enough to think about things before I did it. And then having learned how to reflect, I'm now actually at the point in myself where I'm being a bit more like, in fact, I don't know if I've got it handy. I have got a bracelet from Brad Burton that says 24, 24, 24. And what he says is, if you can't make the decision in 24 seconds, then make it in 24 minutes. If you can't make it in 24 minutes, come back in 24 hours. And basically, if in 24 hours you cannot get any more data, you can't get any more information, then the decision isn't important enough, let it go. And I've been playing with this concept of just do it and seeing what happens. And what I'm noticing is I'm actually spending less time on social media scrolling things and getting a lot more done. So I hope that's of interest to you today. Please give me some feedback by liking, commenting on the post. Have an amazing week, and I'll speak to you again next Monday. Bye.